Welcome to Uncanny X-Minutes, where we bring you the comics behind the movies. I'm producer James.
And I'm Stasia.
And we're here to talk about The Wolverine, minutes 0 to 10.
Do you want to know what happens in this Wolverine movie, James?
Yeah.
Wolverine is in Nagasaki as the bomb drops, where he saves a Japanese soldier. Fast forward to modern day Wolverine waking up in a cave, and then he goes into town.
He
does.
Looks like a mountain man.
My favorite part is him just like wandering around with the bear. Like, heart. My heart, the bear.
The
So
bear.
good.
Well, we get more about the bear next week.
Yes, I know.
Not this
Sorry.
week. This week, I want to look at the World War II of it all.
Yes, this is an era of Marvel Comics in which I am very deficient in.
The history of Marvel Comics and World War II, I think, is interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, World War II, the comic books were a big medium then, like right before the war came out. According to a study in 1943, 35% of adults between 18 and 30 were regularly reading at least 6 comic books a month. Because at the time, they were 10 cents.
Yeah.
I think one of the books about the Comics Code Authority is called The 10-Cent Plague.
Yes, it's really good.
I think we covered it a little bit in the Comics Code Authority episode, was that it was cheap and that everyone could grab one. And entertainment at the time was not as readily available as it is now.
And disposable, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't made to be collector's items like they are now. Like, people didn't necessarily like have long boxes full of comic books. I mean, Stan Lee has also admitted when he was writing Fantastic Four, he didn't expect people to be reading it this far from now. So, like, continuity errors early on, he was like, what? People are still reading these? Like, I think they realized later the rabid fan base, and so that's why you get the, like, as back in this issue, if for those that remember, you know, here it is. So when kids went off to war for World War II, they were sent comic books, like, as part of their care packages, you know, like, comic books were huge and everywhere.
And that kind of like makes sense why it was like such a topic World War II is in the Marvel Comics too, because like you're saying, it's reflective of what's going on, but also that's also their consumer base, like young men, like girls were reading comics too, but I think like when we were going through those books, like it was targeted at young boys.
I mean, we're also talking superhero comics specifically.
Yes.
Like, there were still love comics and like romance comics that women did read.
Yeah.
You know, like, actually, hilariously enough, Patsy Walker, the Hellcat, started off as a romantic comic book character. Like,
I think I vaguely remember this. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I believe Millie the Model, which is like Jean Grey's roommate.
Yes,
at
she
some
is
point.
also from a
She's
love
also
comic.
from those.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they pulled characters from old romantic Marvel comics or Tom Lee comics or whatever, Atlas, whatever they were at the time. It was Time Lee, then Atlas, then Marvel. But they're all the same rights.
Right.
You see. They'll pick them up and put them in Marvel comics. They're like, whatever. It's fine. If you were to say World War II and Marvel comics, everyone's going to say Captain America.
Oh, I was going to say Magneto. But I'm
If you would
X-Men
have said, if you would have said Holocaust.
That's true. More specific.
I think more specifically, if you were to say Marvel Holocaust, it would 100% be Magneto. But if you're talking World War II,
Captain America. I understand.
Captain America. And that is because before Marvel Comics was Marvel Comics, they were Time Lee Comics. And they created Captain America, amongst other characters. But more importantly, Captain America.
Yeah.
This is all due to the fact that in the 30s and 40s, superhero comics were popular. And then we went to war.
Yeah.
And because we went to war, we got to fire up the old propaganda machine. So, what does Captain America do in the cover of his very first comic?
He punches Hitler.
Right in the face.
Even I know that.
Right? We all know it. It's iconic.
Yeah.
But he's not the only superhero to fight Nazis.
No, definitely not.
Which is great. Like, there's a litany of them, but like...
I think Namor is one of them, too.
So, yeah, Namor is also one of the characters to fight Nazis. And he's also, like, very integral to World War II comics, too.
Yeah.
The other one that's really popular is the original Human Torch.
Yes, I do know that,
Jim
too.
Hammond.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, is a robot. Mm-hmm. And if you are the most eagle-eye viewers of Captain America, the First Avenger, he is in that movie. Like in
Really?
the Stark Expo,
Yeah.
there is a man in a glass case.
Oh my gosh, really?
That's the Human Torch.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I just realized that. I
Yeah.
just never noticed that.
Well,
wow.
because you don't need to, because
Yeah.
it never comes up.
Yeah.
But his interesting thing is they made a robot, but as soon as it was exposed to air, it burst into flames. And that's
Let's see if the Human Torch.
and that is the cover of Marvel Comics #1, which was not made by Marvel Comics, it was made by Timely.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they got the name, though, was that run
Right.
of comics. So anyway, Marvel had a bunch of these war comics. After the war, superhero comics went out of fashion. They were replaced by westerns, sci-fi, some horror. We've talked about the Comics Code Authority
Yeah.
being the death of those horror
Yeah,
comics.
we have a whole episode about it.
So that's referred to often as the golden age of comics.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the silver age of comics, which is where Marvel starts
Right.
with Fantastic Four and the like. In the silver age, we get like another round of World War II era comic books. That's where you get the Invaders.
Oh, interesting.
They were not made in the 40s, but they are characters from the 40s written still fighting Nazis.
Sure.
And if you don't know who the Invaders are, let me tell you.
Please.
It is Captain America. It is Namor. The Human Torch, or Jim Hammond. Toro, which is Human Torch's sidekick, who is also made of fire. And Bucky.
Bucky Barnes.
But like James Buchanan Barnes as a teenager.
Right.
We're talking kid Bucky. We're talking sidekick Bucky.
Interesting.
So that's the Invaders. Then I would say if you jump ahead a little bit, you get like this like almost third wave World War II characters, and it's all these older characters that weren't made in the 40s and weren't around in the 60s, but we pretend they were there the whole time. And that's where Wolverine lands.
Yes, definitely.
Is
The
that he
80s.
wasn't created till like late 70s?
70s, yeah.
Early 80s. But like he also wasn't old yet. Like he was always a mystery.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like, oh no, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, part of the healing factor, yeah.
So now your more modern stories will show him with Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So like Captain America, he was in Timely Comics, and then when the Silver Age came around, he wasn't there. He wasn't there for Avengers #1. He didn't come around till Avengers #4.
Huh.
And that's when they were like, he was frozen in ice the whole time. So if I recall, there are Captain America quote unquote characters between those 2 points in time.
Okay.
But they weren't always Steve Rogers.
Okay.
So I think what ended up happening was they said that it happened at some point, and then it was almost like a retcon.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, it wasn't Steve Rogers. Because like he does it, like they wanted the stories to be canon,
Right.
but he was frozen in ice, so how could that be?
Right.
This is when they actually cared about
Keeping things in canon.
keeping things in
And
canon.
not just being like, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
No, I do like that though. So that makes sense. And then like, I mean, because we've played with because that gives way to the concept of like the title of a Captain America. And then that gets passed around in modern comics too, and what that means. It's still very interesting. So I think like it's a good retcon because it created more great stories for Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
The post-Invaders, like, stories where they went back and were like, oh, these people actually existed back then. This is where you get Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos, or
Yes.
Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos, is I
Yes.
think what they call them, which is what you also see in Captain America, the First Avenger. It's actually Captain America and the Howling Commandos, when I don't think originally that was ever the idea. I think it was always Nick Fury.
Yes.
And we're talking Nick Fury Sr., Hasselhoff Fury, if I may.
Hasselhoff Fury.
Not Sam Jackson Fury. We're talking Hasselhoff.
That's true.
They all have names. Like, the whole crew has names. But the ones that, like, really stick are Nick Fury and Dum Dum Dugan.
Yes.
And Dum Dum Dugan mostly is because he always wears a bowler hat with the most epic mustache. Right?
Yes. He also, well, there's a lot of things happen to Dum Dum Dugan, but we'll get to it. Yes.
Right. But just speaking from a Howling Commandos viewpoint, that was the thing. So there are comics. I didn't dig back in because this is one of those like I casually read and then forgot what the issues were. There are times where Wolverine does interact with Captain America back in World War II and the Howling Commandos.
Yes, not in the so Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos though is like 1965.
Right.
So like he wouldn't be in those.
This is that Silver Age stuff. But like because he wasn't created at the time.
Yeah, but like later, like when they make references, like they're still making like they still made like references to the Howling Commandos later, and they do put Wolverine in there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a comic I read somewhat recently called Hell Hunters, which this is what I like because sometimes they're like, oh yeah, Wolverine was there, and then it's almost like a retconned backstory or like one of those like let's go back and tell a story that didn't actually exist so we have something. Hell Hunters is an interesting story where Nick Fury Sr., when he has two eyes, so two-eyed Hasselhoff, is running with a group that's not the Howling Commandos and not like the Invaders or anything. It is a weird combo. It's him, it's Peggy Carter. So like the Agent Carter we all know. They've started writing her more into like the old comics. Why not?
Makes sense.
Bucky shows up at one point, Kid Bucky. They have like an old Ghost Rider, which at the time I think they called him the Rider, but it is fully decked out soldier on an old World War II motorcycle.
It's very cool.
So it's really cool. And then a Soldier Supreme. So it's a Sorcerer Supreme, but he's once again like he's decked out in army gear, but also like amulets and stuff. And he's got like the Eye of Agamotto like painted on his helmet.
That's like so interesting because like the 60s like Sergeant like Howling Commando stuff, they don't really do magic.
They're
really.
Straight up soldiers.
It's just soldiers. But now they're starting to you said this is a newer run?
Yes, this is like this year.
Okay, that's
was a
cool.
run they did where it's fun. But it's them fighting like a demon that has possessed a Nazi. So like it's got some fun, but like this is the kind of war stories I want to read.
Right.
I want comic book nonsense in my war stories.
Yeah, I just want comic book nonsense. Yeah.
I love Magneto Testament.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
But it's a bummer.
It is.
It's a real bummer. I want this. I want like, oh, we went back and there were soldiers that were possessed by demons that we had to take out. You know, there are other like more straightforward, you know, them dealing with Hydra or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, in those series.
There's also that really interesting time where they make the Howling Commandos. They're like a private military corporation in response to Hammer. So it's when Norman Osborn is taking over, they reutilize that like framework. And you'll see this like with the name Howling Commandos specifically. There's like this very intense thing that's like set in World War II, but then they kind of reuse that group or like basically under Fury as for these like kind of side comics that I think are quite interesting actually, but they're a little bit more comic booky nonsense than
which
the
they
originals.
Should be.
Yeah.
It's always funny though because Wolverine is always has to remind everyone he's Canadian.
Yeah.
He's not part of the US military. He's like, but I'm Canadian.
But he keeps showing up.
Well, and in the Origins,
yeah,
you know, they show him and Sabretooth in a war, but it's so quick. They don't dwell on it at all. You know, they're more interested in like them being in like Vietnam or whatever.
Yeah. Korean War too.
Which that's the thing. He's been in all the wars.
Yeah. Like, all of them.
I mean, because we've talked about Task Force X.
Yeah.
Where I think in World War II, he was just a soldier.
Yeah.
And as the years go on, they've made him more Task Force X and more of like he's in all of the wars, but not in a frontline capacity.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of where we land with Wolverine, though, in the World War II. Like it is more like backstory is
retconning.
What they is.
Yeah. Like when they want to talk about like Wolverine's past, like they'll pick one. I mean, and it's just not just World War II. It's like there are like other things with like the Korean War and the Vietnam War too.
Yeah.
But it's like whenever you want to tell a historical fiction story, well, you got Wolverine.
I do think it's interesting though, because like like we were talking the last episode about sliding timescales and how they used to try to keep everything kind of modern, and whatever was going on in the, you know, the current day, they would try integrating.
Yeah.
And that included whatever war we were dealing with at the time. World War II is always going to stay.
Yeah.
You know, there is this romanticism to World War II. There was this justness to it that we all like can agree on. There was a good side, there was a bad side, and America did well, even though we did some whatever.
Yeah.
That's another podcast to talk about.
Yeah.
But I see why they keep coming back to it. And now that we're getting further and further away, it's interesting because the only characters they will continue to put in it are the almost immortals. You know, like like you can't unwrite Magneto as a Holocaust survivor, which is hard because now the further we're getting, the further it's weird. But with Krakoa, once we've said it before.
Yeah, they healed a lot of problems.
Let's be honest, they can be whatever age we want them to be.
Yeah,
but Wolverine's always there. Nick Fury Sr. is always there, which now that they've done the Sam Jackson, Nick Fury Jr.,
yes,
solved a lot of those problems because it was they did have a reasoning behind that, why Nick Fury was a World War II vet but seemed to be kind of young.
He had like part of the super soldier serum.
It was like a watered down version. It seemed like, but it extended his life.
Right,
was really all it did, and I kind of like that. I like that they could mess with that, but once again, the longer we get out, that gets a little thing. Namor's the same way.
Yes.
Like I think I don't know if that was ever part of his mutant ability.
But now it's mutant. Yeah. Well, yeah, because he was at first he's just an Atlantean.
He's half Atlantean, isn't he?
Yes, half Atlantean.
Because the Atlanteans are blue.
Right.
And he's white skinned.
Yeah.
In the comics.
That's like the color palette they chose.
Yep.
Yes, I do think that like it's part of Namor's like
right. And Bucky's the same way, though. He got the super soldier serum.
Yes,
so he is also allowed to be as old as he wants.
Right.
As well. There is one, I do have like a list of like all these different characters that were around during the timely like Silver Age, Golden Age, the timely Golden Age comics. But the ones that like really pop out that I think are fun there's one called Wizard. Have you ever heard of Wizard?
It's like there's like something scratching at my brain. I feel it sounds familiar, but I can't tell you what it is.
So he's a speedster.
A speedster. Okay.
That's really all it is. But he looks silly. He's all yellow, which makes the name Wizard
I've
even
seen this
worse.
person. I've seen this person. Yes.
Okay. So the only reason I bring him up, because we'll never get to it, because even if we went into like the MCU of things, we would never go into Jessica Jones that deep.
Yeah.
But I think season 2 of Jessica Jones, this guy visits her and is like, someone's trying to kill me. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I'm a speedster and I go by the name The Wizard. And they're like, okay. And I remember watching it going, holy crap, I've heard of him. Never read any of his comics because he does like a lot of these like Golden Age characters from Timely do pop up every once in a while. Like
somebody liked them or something.
Yeah. Like, but or them. Like they'll come back because let's be honest, until more recently, it wasn't unheard of for a character from the 40s to pop up. Like in the 80s, that's only 40 years. That's not that bad. They're superheroes. Time is flexible. Who cares? 2020 something?
Yeah.
Maybe we don't bring Golden Age characters around unless there's a reason. But there's a lot of names that end up being reused over and over again, like Black Widow.
Right, yeah.
Or like Vision. There was a Vision before Vision. There's a Human Torch before Human Torch. Like, I like that we reuse a lot of names again. And we aren't afraid to be like, no, it's fine. Because this isn't a mantle. Like, actually, Human Torch took the name from the Human Torch. Like, as an honor.
Yeah.
For different reasons, you know. But Jim Hammond still jumps around here and there. But when you look up like characters from World War II as opposed to Golden Age comics, that's when you start getting like Wolverine was there and Romulus.
Oh my God. We can't keep talking about Romulus.
According to like, this is also, I didn't dig too deep.
Yeah.
But like they say Romulus was there, but like we keep going back and forth. Like, was he there or was he lying? because he's a big ball of who knows what.
Yeah. There's, I mean, like,
not worrying about Romulus right now.
Thank you.
Sabretooth was there.
Sabretooth is, yes.
That one. There are stories. Wild Child.
Yes.
I didn't know that one.
Wild Child also jumps around in time because there's a lot of stuff going on with time. He's part of the Exiles. He's also part of like Wild Child is like comes from the Age of Apocalypse storyline. He like changes timelines. So I could see that. I don't know exactly what story. Maybe he is actually just there, but it's very possible it's something like that.
Cyber.
Okay.
Which I think we talked about him with the adamantium storylines where he is a dude who has like adamantium arms.
Okay. Yes, I vaguely remember. It was so weird. It was like that. We were talking about the logistics of that, I think.
Yeah, we were. But I think that one was more of a Romulus nonsense.
Yes.
That where he got roped into that one. I mean, that's mostly the fun ones. Okay. That are more X-Men related.
Definitely. Yeah, because like I mean, to be honest, outside of Magneto, which we talked about, like which is literally a little bit like a very specific part of that era.
It's the part we didn't talk about when we were writing Golden Age comics.
Right, exactly. And so like World War II has always been a little bit like outside of the X-Men realm, like to be honest. Like we don't spend a lot of time in there. Wolverine gets retconned because of his like long life, but I don't know. I'm sure there's some other timeline shenanigans, I'm sure. But besides those things.
I mean, I was reading an Avengers Academy book recently, one of the Infinity ones, where everyone got thrown all over the place. It was, I think they actually called it the Time Caper. Is that
Yes.
They stole that title.
That's from yes, that was.
And one of them was, I believe, Juggernaut's son visiting his grandfather in World War II.
Yeah, there you go.
And their Captain America, who is not, I don't even want to go into that Captain America, but he goes by Captain America, and it is not any Captain America you think you know.
Okay, I definitely have not read this. This is really interesting.
I'm not going to go into it. We don't have time for that. That's another thing. When it comes to X-Men, though, Wolverine, Sabretooth are like your main, if you're going to go back and write a World War II story, those are the ones you're going to use.
Yeah. So I just want to talk a little bit more about the Howling Commandos, because like it's so interesting to me, because this is not really a character, because it's not the same characters over time, but it's kind of like a team that has persisted within Marvel, which I think gives like a little bit of like an idea of how popular these must have been. Because like to me, the superhero comic, that like the X-Men, things like that, Avengers, that's what I think of when I think of Marvel. It's what I read.
Yeah.
But this is telling you that this was so popular, these like war comics where they were deeply serious, like topics, not necessarily in content, but like topic, were really popular, and they kind of still are.
I think those were part of the boom of the 70s as well, the 60s and 70s as well. Like superhero comics were big, but so were war comics.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you have the Sergeant Fury's Howling Commandos, which you named, right? Mm-hmm. So according to Marvel, like this is like their elite special squadron, and they fight Nazis. That's exactly what they do. They have like spin-offs of the Howling Commandos. So like it seems as if Nick Fury kind of takes this name and uses them for like other comics that have slightly different teams, but is like really interesting as like these squadrons, and they kind of shift away from like being specifically about like war exactly, but like is about like another shield group, for example. But like they keep that name, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest ones is, so this is like 2005, you have Nick Fury's Howling Commando. So he,
instead of Sergeant Fury's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a group of horror characters. Since we were like, talking about pulling from love comics and like this, do you know what who is on this team?
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Werewolf, the Living Mummy, Frankenstein, zombie, vampire by night, a lady, vampire by night. And then it's like a horror team.
Love it.
It's really interesting. And they're like, it's weird because it's like just a Shield comic. It doesn't feel like a war comic anymore. It's definitely more similar to like this era of the mid 2000s with like the what Cable turns into in this era too.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like really interesting. So they have that team, and then also there's another team of Howling Commandos, and that is the one with Daisy, who's Earthquake.
Okay.
She has a team that they name the Howling Commandos as well.
Okay.
And have like modernized that again as like under Nick Fury working for Shield, not a World War II, but still keeping that name. And I think that's kind of cool that this like very non-superhero-y like popular book, like it was so popular, they just like, you know what, we're gonna keep that.
The name's real good.
Using it and like making that like a series.
I do like, it's funny that the second iteration of Howling Commandos, the Monster Squad, essentially.
Yeah.
That DC had one.
Did they?
Yeah. Called the Creature Commandos.
Oh, okay. Weirdly, I actually know the Creature Commandos. I did not put together that was.
There's been a somewhat recent cartoon.
Yes, very good.
Why James Gunn made one that is very good for HBO, but it's based on a comic from the 80s.
Okay.
So they had done it first.
Sure.
You know, but it's fine. No, it's fine. There are monsters that both DC and Marvel have, and I think some Marvel does better and some DC does better. And like Frankenstein is more of a DC character than he is a Marvel character.
Makes sense.
Even though I believe there was a Marvel anime about Frankenstein.
Really? Wait, a Marvel anime about Frankenstein?
Yeah, you haven't seen that one?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Would you like to give me some more information?
It is called. Yeah, it was from a comic book called Monster of Frankenstein.
Okay.
It's less of a superhero anime, and it's just more of like a Frankenstein one, but it was based on the Marvel comic book. They did a Dracula one too.
Okay.
It's called Sovereign of Dracula. They're not great.
Yeah.
They're from the 80s.
I think this is super interesting. I feel like because these are like, I wonder if because like these were like war books that they kind of are tiptoeing, like all these things that are kind of related to the Commandos, like kind of tiptoeing towards like other genres that are maybe not as popular as the superhero one within the Marvel comics.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like the horror monsters, like those kind of homage to the horror comics and like random characters from like other like genres that they're picking up from Golden Age and things like that. I think that's like quite interesting.
I think that the straight up war comic is not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like because it glorifies war.
Right.
Which at the time, the 1930s and 40s and 50s even, like it's the propaganda machine, you know, it's going to sell. Like we want everyone to know yay war.
You're doing your part.
It's right. Like, but that's the thing with World War II, we were on the up. Like we did great.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. And then like every subsequent war,
it's a different vibe.
It didn't quite have the same. It's like we were trying to get that sequel and we did not get it.
Yeah.
And so the comic books are trying to do it, trying to help, I feel like. But because World War II was so iconic, it's the one we got to do, you know? Punching Nazis never goes out of style.
That's very true. And I definitely...
I don't care what anyone says. Punching Nazis never goes out of style.
And you know what? They lean in. They lean in hard for that.
Yeah. And Captain America, always gonna punch a Nazi. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, definitely.
There are so many like comic book covers of those Golden Age characters just fighting Nazis left and right.
It's just like crazy.
It wasn't like we were saying about how in First Class, it's like, well, they're Nazis, but they're not really Nazis. Like that's kind of where Hollywood went at one point. And it's funny to look at those old books and be like, nah, they were Nazis.
It's just so blatant. And it's also just like so iconic too, because it's just like, I don't read a ton of Captain America as we've discovered today, but like I know what that first issue looks like. I could recreate it.
When you watched Captain America First Avenger and they do it on stage, you're like, I know what that's in reference to.
Yes,
like
definitely.
No doubt.
If you're reading comics, even if you're not like reading that, like you're not gonna you're not going to walk into a convention, a comic book store, without seeing that cover at some point. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So for now, I think that's a good amount of World War II talk. We probably will run a little bit into it when we do some more deep dives into these characters.
Yeah.
But Wolverine was there. There's definitely Wolverine stories. I don't think there's any like if you look at the movie we're about to cover, it's more about his Japanese journeys than it is about him being a World War II character.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we need to be front about it. He was a World War II character, like, after the fact.
Right, which is why this movie starts and establishes him there.
It's like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, it for today. I'm producer James.
And I'm Stasia.
And we'll see you for the next 10.